Okay, Mr. Phobes, I'm back. Here we're going to work with the value arrangement of this. Okay, so I've got the design set. Um, what I'm going to do now is adjust the values. Now, one of the things that's important is that let's look at the panel here, the stroke and fill panel. We want to make sure that the fill is set but the stroke is not, and that the fill is in front of the stroke. We don't want to see if you just selected that. We don't want to do that. That's going to screw things up. So have the fill set to in front. Okay. Have your uh, swatches open, and we want to do the grayscale swatches. Um, and Again, one of the objects has to be black or 90%. Another one has to be 50% gray, and the other one needs to be 10%. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with the ground. Okay, so I'm going to make the cat black. That's pretty obvious, right? So I select the body of the cat where it's on the ground, and then I'm going to select the black. Okay, that's pretty easy. And you notice that it doesn't color any of the overlap areas. It only covers the areas that are on the ground. Um, I think I'm going to make the 9 my grayscale. So I'm going to select the 9 where it's sitting on the ground, and I'm going to go to here it is right there to tell you it's 50%. Okay, and then the cross, I'm going to have it be my 90% or 10%. All right. Okay. Now here's the trick: is that now I need to do the overlapping values. Okay. So the best way to think about it is to do the math. So if I have a 10% over a 50%, I add them together. That's 60% divided by 2. That would be 30%. So I select this, go to the 30%, and select that. Okay, and it selects every place that's overlapping the 9, except where all three overlap, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Um, Now let's look at this section where the cat overlaps the 9. So this is 100% and 50%, so that's 150 divided by 2 would be 75. Okay, so let me just try 80 here. Okay, and then I'm looking at this now. Where it gets tricky is here I've got the 10% over the 100%, so that's 110, so that'd be like 55. I don't want to make it exactly the same as this. These two look too similar, so what I might want to do is just see what it looks like if I make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so it may be a little bit too light. Okay. Um, and I can keep going down. Okay. So I'm kind of going down and adjusting it. All right. Now I look at this, that probably is all three overlap. So you have to kind of decide, well, what is it that you want to dominate? Do I want the cat to dominate or the 9 to dominate? The 9 is pretty strong and the cat is pretty strong. This looks like it, this works pretty well. Okay. So before we make too many more decisions, now what we need to do is we need to deal with the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer, and that layer is number 4, and I want to drag it, and I want it to be at the very bottom. All right, so now I'm going to go to the rectangle tool, and whatever's in my palette at the time, that's what it's going to be. But let's just try it. So I'm going to select the corner, and I'm going to drag down here like this, and it should snap in place. So that's obviously too close to the ground here. So let me experiment with what does it look like if it's a little bit darker. That's pretty good. It looks like it's maybe a little bit too close to this. Okay, now this is where what you can do is go to Window and choose the color. Okay, and right now it's in grayscale. So what we can do is the CM and the Y are all at 0. And then the K, which is black, we can actually now make more finite adjustments by sliding this around. You see that? I suggest starting out with the numbers, and then you can come back and use this little slider to make these adjustments, okay? So my ground is relatively dark. Now let's see what happens if I make it a lighter ground. Um, you know, that's okay, but now it's a little bit too close to this. So I just think it looks better with on this one, it looks better with the ground being a little bit darker, okay? So that's not bad. You know, I can, you know, maybe I can go in and adjust this one. This looks maybe a little too dark. You know, so again, maybe the math isn't exactly right, but I might want to make it a little bit lighter, and then that helps connect the whole cross together because that's the lightest value there. All right. So that's not bad. You know, these are still a little too close together. Let me see if I make it a little bit lighter. And now it's too close to this. All right. So what I might do, let's make this one a little darker. Because that'll work because it's on the black cat. As long as I can read, I still want to be able to read all three shapes. So I can still read the cat, I can still read the 9, and I can still read the cross. The cross is kind of dominant on this, which is fine. It's in the center. Um, you know, this may have been a little bit too light to begin. Now that we've got it on this darker ground, I might want to make it a little bit darker. Okay, now it's not so bright and coming forward so much. All right. Um, so you can see you can play around with this forever. Now, if you want to see what it's going to look like before you crop it, you can go to View and you go what's called Trim View, and that shows you what the composition is going to look like. So that's a great way to sort of check it out. Okay, so that's done. The next video I'll show you how we're going to save this and then how we're going to convert this for the laser cutter. Okay, see you in a bit.